Hi, my loves. How's your Broadway shutdown going today? I'm Laura Haywood, Broadway Girl NYC, and this is day 7 of the shutdown. Wow, a full week since we heard that Broadway was going to be shut down for a little bit, or a long bit. Right now, we don't know, and there's a lot of uncertainty. And the one thing that is so important in this time of uncertainty is remembering that we're not alone. So every day I get on Instagram Live and I'm joined by a friend from the Broadway community, and we talk about how we're feeling, and we talk about our fears if we're feeling scared, and we talk about the future and what that might look like. And we talk about how much we love each other. And sometimes we talk about things that have nothing to do with the coronavirus or the shutdown or sheltering in place or social distancing. The point is just to be together and remind ourselves that we're lucky to have social media, so we don't have to feel completely alone, even if we are completely alone. For me, I live alone. My family's on the other side of the country, and my boyfriend lives in another state. So, I mean, he's in Jersey. It's not that far away, but still, we don't get to see each other. So I'm seeking community, and this support group is for me as much as it is for anybody else. So thank you for being here for me to help me feel less alone right now. Today, I'm really excited because the person who's joining us is someone who might not be a household name like some of the actors who I've had join the support group so far, but he, more than anyone I know, has a vision for how Broadway can change with the times. He was one of the very first people, if not the first, in the Broadway community to embrace social media as a marketing tool. It's hard to believe that there was a time that social media marketing wasn't a force, but it wasn't. Back in 2009, when I joined Twitter, it was just like a bloggy type of thing, and it wasn't taken seriously, and it certainly wasn't seen as a career path. But Jim Glaub, who is a marketing genius, he jumped on it, and he was working with the show Rock of Ages at the time, and he organized Broadway's first Tweet Up, which was a party basically with appetizers and drinks that was for anyone who followed Rock of Ages on Twitter. And it was through that we initially met, through my then anonymous alter ego, but we have since become very good friends, and I really trust him to help guide us and invent what Broadway's going to look like in a changed world. So I'm going to go ahead and add Jim into the conversation, and I hope that you will give us some questions in the comments and let us know how you're feeling. Let's see. I know I saw him jump in. There he is. Wait for him to join us. Hello, Manuk in the Netherlands. Hi, Jim. Oh, you're so sunshiny.
Oh my God, that was such a great rev up. Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing this with me. You are such a like delight in every way, and so to have you get to like bring some joy and hope and just your smile and your mustache and your brooch and your plants behind you, I already feel more alive.
Oh my God, I am so excited to talk to you. You are fantastic. You know I'm a big fan and a friend, and I'm just thrilled that we're doing this. This is so cool.
So how are you feeling? How are you feeling today with the shutdown, with like how's your heart today?
It's like every day is different, right? Every day is sort of like there's ups and there's downs, and I think that's sort of normal for anybody in this sort of new world, if you will. And it's been, but you know, I'm genuinely an optimistic person, and I also love change. So I'm like, and I'm a futurist, so I'm like, all right, here's what it is. Here's what we're doing. How do we make this work? Like, what's next? And
yeah, you know how to pivot for sure.
Yeah,
you're not a like same old kind of guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a social person, so like that's why I love social media, and it is a bit hard because there isn't this level of like coming to the theater aspect, but I've always been a digital person, so like I'm trying to figure out it's like basically that whole like in the IRL aspect of my career is now like removed, and it's like, oh, I mean, this is what I've been doing for 20 years. It's just IRL, and now it's like all just here. So
Yeah. I feel like IRL is going to have new meaning. Like, we're going to talk about the days before. We're going to be like, remember IRL, the IRL era? And now we're like, so I sort of feel like we're already becoming like the movie WALL-E, where everybody's just looking at their screens and interacting with their screens. And man, I hope that it's short term and that we can like go back to an IRL. Life.
I do. I mean, I'm from the Midwest, and you know, I had a real culture shock when I first moved to. I originally moved to Chicago after that, because I remember in Kansas City, where I grew up, like you would walk down the street and you would be like, "Hello, hello," you know, you would sort of like wave or tip of the hat, you know. And so I'm sort of right now like I'll go out, you know, because we can still go out.
Right.
I'll walk down the street and I will acknowledge people that walk by, and I'll be like, "Hello."
There's a lot of neighborliness happening right now.
And everyone's like welcoming it. It's like this is like. So I think while things online in this little box and in our bubble feels really scary and feels really tight and messy and crumbly, I have to say, out there, people are like, I think they want that. Remember, we are human connection, and it's been. I highly recommend just you know, definitely stay in, but if you can like peek your head out and like wave at someone, like in the show 227, you know, you sit.
I don't know 227.
Yeah, 227 reference. The younger kids wouldn't get it, but like, you know, you just hang out the window and just wave at someone. You know?
I actually, right before we joined this broadcast, right before I started the broadcast, I put my running shoes on, and I was like, if I have them on, I'm more likely to go out as soon as we're done, since we're doing this on the early side today. And so I was like, I'm not going to give myself any obstacles. My one trip outside today is going to be to get some exercise before the sun goes down. Ooh, Bonnie Milligan just joined us. What's up, Broadway star?
I know. And Justin Guarini and Selena Lowndes, and oh my God, so many amazing people. I am going to take this moment, though, while we have an audience, to just say that I'm just posting in this link that you guys can donate to Broadway Cares now. There's a massive COVID-19.
BroadwayCares.org/help2020.
Yeah. So if you can, there a lot of their it's the Emergency Assistant Fund, and basically all funds that come in, they're trying to raise $1 million, and they're halfway there, which is crazy. And all of that will be for artists, actors, people behind the scenes who are might be a little bit in trouble. They can actually go there and get help. And if anybody is watching and needs help right now, you too can help. You can get help. So the Broadway community has always been one that comes together during times of crisis. We've done this. We've been through this. We know how to deal with this. We are a community. So I highly recommend, if you guys get a moment, just click on that little link and donate today. A couple bucks.
I wonder how they feel about freelancers whose entire income streams have frozen up.
Yeah, no, it's true, and there is going to be assistance. You know, for anybody. I am hopeful. Like, if we were to look in history, there's going to be lots of grants and funds that will be set up by the city as well as by the Broadway community that will help people in need. So please do not despair. Right now, Actors Fund, anybody who, it's not just for actors, if you are anybody in the community that are experiencing help, you can sign up to be, to receive help from the Actors Fund. You also can, Broadway Cares. The city is about to go through their process of a small business loan as well. And then also the government has released some new opportunities for you to be able to submit for a small business loan in regards to their disaster relief fund. Things are still being worked out, but don't, you know, and the city is going to come up with programs. Artists are, during these hard times, artists are the heart of our city. They're at
You're so filled with hope and positive energy, Jim. I may have to do a FaceTime with you every day, just like whether or not it's public for people to watch. I just feel like I need infusions of you constantly. Oh man, I have today found this like kind of peace. It's like I still have my worries. But I'm like, I've meditated twice today. I did a bunch of very meditative cleaning. I read. I slept in, and I'm going to do yoga later. Even if I do go to my run, I'm like committed to doing yoga now through an online program. And like, I feel like, I don't know, like some of the noise has left my head, but it's also taken my energy level a little lower, because I'm just like sort of zen, whereas you're like rah 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 cheerleader, woo! So yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a cultural moment. We are in a state of we're going through grief, which is real. I've lost both of my parents. I've lost dear friends. I've been through these processes of grief, and I think culturally, and right now we're going through the first phase, which is just like the shock of like, oh my gosh, you've just been told that it's happening, and we're all in it together, which is, we all sort of are going to react differently. So there's going to be that's the thing, is that you just got to feel what you're feeling and know that it's okay. And if you want to eat a ton of ice cream, and if you want to eat all of your quarantine snacks, it's okay. Like, I mean, like, if you want to feel, you just need to feel it. If you feel like you want to cry, cry. If you want to laugh, laugh. Like, this is a massive moment for us collectively.
So when you think about the future, so there are two different futures I think we need to think about right now. One is like, if this comes to a close and we all go back to sort of more or less the way it was, what changes do we make to Broadway and sort of understanding what communal gathering means? Or like, if this turns out to be really long term, what changes can we make to make sure that the theater community continues to exist, that art keeps getting made, that our artists can continue to make a living, and how we can support a new like version or vision of Broadway?
Yeah. Well, I think the first question, I think, is going to be the thing that is like, what do we learn from this? I mean, right now, a lot of the Broadway and theater companies have insurance for this type of thing, so that, a lot of the times that they're sort of covered for a limited amount of time. And right now, there's a lot of conversations going on with the labor unions, as well as Actors Equity, et cetera, et cetera. So there's this level of like, we're in a place where we're a little bit covered. There's still a lot that's like falling apart.
Is that the theaters as physical buildings? Is it the producers? Is it the the Broadway League? Who does that insurance payout go to? Are there just different kinds of insurance?
It's different kinds of insurance. There are insurances for each show that represent, that an actual entity takes, so that in case something happens, like a snow day, or an act of God, or like, remember when Jagged Little Pill had the mace that went out? Like, that is all covered by insurance. Yeah. So there, and there's all these things that are covered. So I think what we'll learn now is like what happens with like what we've learned from this. And I was just talking to a few people who were saying that it's like, will these things, as they happen, like, as our environment changes, and as us as people, like with pandemics and natural disasters, these things might be written more into the world of insurance, and therefore might be left out. And warnings will probably come quicker, right? If there's something coming, that we'll be able to shut down and be more prepared, which I think will be really good. But meaning that we'll need programs set in place for this type of thing. The future, though, I mean, I'm excited about it because, like, look, we've been every day someone is going online. We're going live now.
Hmm.
People, I've had conversations with Broadway HD, with streaming musicals. I've had conversations with a variety of different theater companies who are all using these tools that have been here. And I'm like, hello,
Yeah,
this.
did it take a worldwide pandemic and crisis to get you to see?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and actually, I got an email from Berkeley Rep, which is like my home regional theater from where
Yeah.
I'm from. And they're doing this thing they call buy one, get 300 free, where if you buy a $15 ticket to see one of their 2 productions, which they filmed like an early dress rehearsal, so it has costumes. It was like after 2 days of tech. If you buy a $15 ticket, you get all of Broadway HD for a week. So you buy a ticket to one show, a new production, you get to watch it and enjoy it and share it with your friends, and then you also can access 300 plus other shows with that. It's like best $15 you've ever spent, and one of those plays, I can't remember both of them, but one of them is Schoolgirls, the African Mean Girls play, which when it was here in New York was one of my favorites of the year, and I'm excited to see what Berkeley Rep does with it.
Yeah. No, it's very exciting, this level of, like, how people are jumping online and using the tools that are available. I see the fabulous Nick White is on right now, and he works at Facebook and Instagram and has been such a champion in helping us figure out organic ways to connect our communities. And I just think it'll mean more, this will be more of like us as individuals connecting through these platforms, not taking away from us again in real life. Like they've always been, but they've always been 2 different things. But now I think it's very much going to be, now that everyone's woke to. I mean, I'm in calls with meetings with producers and people who are like, oh, what's our Instagram live strategy? Or like, what are we doing for streaming? And I'm like, we've been doing this for everybody,
Yeah, well,
like,
I bet that you may be one of the only people right now who like has more work as a result of all of this going on, because you are the guy when it comes to streaming, digital, and online strategy. So
there's many people who do it. But I've definitely, I've live streamed, as part of She Loves Me, which was one of the first live streams we did, which broke the world record. Streamed the Olivia. Yeah. So it's not.
What did She Love Me break the world record for? Most people simultaneously.
The live stream. Yeah. So because it was the first live stream really
of
that
had show, been. That was not just watch a recording of it. That was watch it as it happens.
Yeah, which is really cool. Yeah. So there's lots of things. That was with Broadway HD, which was amazing, and they've been, it's so crazy because like I feel like there's so many people who are like now like legitimized in a lot of ways because there is no IRL version, but it's been, I think there's
only the URL version.
The URL. Ooh, yeah.
Can't do IRL, do it URL. You need to be paying me, dude. I
know. Definitely. But I'm excited. So the next few months, what we'll see, as a futurist, I think what we'll see is we're going to see a lot of Instagram lives. I think we'll see a growth in YouTube generation within the theater community. I think we're going to see a ton of activity on TikTok. I think we're going to see a growth spike in Twitch, which is, has been doing it from the beginning. Twitch is like 10 years old.
It's mostly for gaming, a gaming platform, right?
Yeah, but they've now expanded and they're desperate for interesting types of content within that community and a whole new younger demographic. I mean, it's really fantastic what's happening on there.
So should I be joining Twitch?
I mean, like everything, if you have the time and you have, if you know, it is a whole other platform that you have to like learn and adjust to. But
I haven't
Twitch
even
is,
joined TikTok yet, and I abandoned Snapchat because it was too much for me. So I sort of feel like, as an old timer, I'm limited to the top, like the original three with Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I don't know if I have the bandwidth to take on anything else. Can I just pause for a second? Do you have a pink guitar behind you?
Is there a what? Oh yeah, my little
pink guitar. Oh, it's a ukulele.
Little pink ukulele that I can't play, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe I'll learn it while I'm on a little break.
We're gonna do a support group in 1 month, and you are going to have a song to play on the ukulele. That's your homework.
It is nice. It's a great time to do the things that you wanted to, like the things that I've always wanted to do, like sleep. Yeah, that's really.
I've been cooking a lot, which is sort of a revelation. I'm like, and I'm making a game out of it. I'm like, what in my fridge is going to go bad fastest? Yeah. And nothing is on the verge of rotting yet. But I'm like, well, I might as well just do it in that order so that the stuff lasts the longest. And I sort of feel like I'm on Chopped. I'm making up recipes and.
I love it. I love it. The things that I did. So I'm also being in quarantine and being vegan is a little bit interesting as well.
Like you don't have beans and rice, I guess.
Oh my God, but it's the best. I went to all the grocery stores and I was like, literally all of the vegan options are still available, and I was like, yeah. All right, because nobody wants to buy the tofu. I was like, I'll take it. Bye.
So what did you get?
Well, I got a bunch of so I love mixing tahini with everything because it gives it that it's so good, and it's like creamy, but it's not dairy based. Right, so yeah. I'll put that with
sesame seed butter, basically.
Little mushrooms, some lettuce, some tahini, some sesame seeds, and mix it all together, and you got a delicious treat. So I highly recommend it.
You're amazing.
But,
I see that Eli Zoller just joined. Eli is actually going to be my guest this weekend. He is a music teacher, and he's offering online lessons during the shutdown. And he's also going to this weekend, both of my guests, Saturday and Sunday, are going to play songs for us. The weekend support groups are going to be musical episodes. So so I noticed he put a little thing that says he's a teacher. So if anybody watching is looking for beginner or any level of expertise music lessons, Eli plays about every instrument there is. So maybe I'll get my old guitar out.
Put his link in there and definitely do that. Maybe I can learn the ukulele after all.
Oh, yeah. He could teach you the ukulele. Yeah. Oh, and it looks like Graham Forden just joined us. Hi, Graham.
I do think that this is a really good. I was telling my staff when we were sort of going through. I was like, look, this is the time when if you want to learn some skills, now's the time. Learn Photoshop, learn Premiere, learn coding. Do these things that take the time to do, and it'll be really successful. That will be something that can be used in the future.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about, for people who go to the theater all the time, take every night you're supposed to, quote unquote, supposed to be at the theater, and make that 1 hour of learning or writing or working on that one project you always said you'd do if you had the time. So I don't go to theater eight days a week or 8 shows a week, but I probably go 5. So if I can 5 days a week put 1 hour aside to work on my memoir or to learn a language. I've been thinking about looking into ASL on YouTube because, or some other online learning platform, because one of my best friends is deaf, and I just she reads lips, and we, and I will occasionally fingerspell something, but I'm like, why not? Why not actually learn how to
This
speak
is the
her
time.
language instead of
Yeah, this
depending on
is
her
the
to
time.
speak mine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really good. And being really intentional about those things, like putting it out there, you know, making those intentions, like I'm going to learn it is really good, because then you'll sort of
Well, now
check
I've
in with
said it.
yourself to do.
Now all
You
these
said it, now
people,
you've got to do it. You got to write it down, you put it out there, you're going to learn it. That's going to be really
and everybody's
great.
going to hold me accountable. So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'll have to report back
that's
on it.
fantastic. Yeah, and that's what's really great. But no, I mean, you know, Graham actually has a good point here. LinkedIn Learning, they're fantastic. That it used to be called Linda. They purchased Linda, but they were. It's great. It's like there's lots of little snippets of things to do, and they have experts that walk you through how to do stuff. So, and you can learn basically anything on it. It's really
I've also
fantastic.
seen several people sharing about like university courses that you can audit online for free. And I don't know whether they're live, they're ones that are happening live, or they're ones that are recorded and you can just take the course. But I've seen so many people sharing that on social media that I think probably if you just Google like free university courses. Oh my gosh, are you okay?
Yeah, I just don't want to die. I mean, not in the way of like
Is there
my
something
phone.
you need to tell us? Oh, you mean battery wise? Battery wise.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yikes. How's everybody doing? Everyone who's watching, anybody need to like get anything off their chest? Anybody having really strong feelings today? Good, bad, ugly? We're here for you. This is support group for everybody. So feel free to chime in the comments. Oh, look at all those hearts. Whoever just gave us all those hearts. Rainbow hearts, man. They feel like fuel.
Yeah. Really soon, we're going to be working with all of the individual casts of Broadway shows to do some get-togethers, which I'm really excited about.
Okay, cool. So, like, what form will that take? Like a Zoom where everybody's...
Yeah, it's going to be really great. Yeah, so we're sort of organizing it all, but it's been... I think that'll be really fun, as these sort of, you know, right now this is really popular, the one-on-one to everybody, but I think next will be like the party hangs, you know, on social.
Can you imagine if you got like every Broadway actor currently working, like you know how the one year, a couple of years ago at the Tonys, they had the ensembles of every show on stage together at once. Can you imagine that? Like,
amazing. It would be so good. I love that.
Are you working from home?
Yeah.
I saw somebody like come around the corner and peek in.
Yeah. Those are my roomies. Hey, buddies, who are also in the theater. So we're all just like trying to keep optimistic and keep together.
Do you think that it's I don't know. Maybe this isn't a fair question to ask, but like when I won't phrase it as a question. I'll just say that when I had roommates, I spent most of my time in my bedroom with the door closed. And I was like, every time I got home, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I hope nobody's home, because I'm such an introvert and I love being by myself.
You're an introvert.
Yes, I am a very extroverted introvert. Here's how I describe it. If I was an iPhone, extroversion would be my best app, but it's also the one that drains the battery the fastest. And if the battery's too low, then the app starts to seriously malfunction and I need to get home and plug myself back in.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, but also now I'm getting to the point where I don't necessarily wish I had a roommate, but I like haven't had a conversation with anyone in person in like a week. So
wow.
So I don't know. I don't know what I'm really getting at, but I don't know.
Well, no, it is hard. I mean, like, definitely, like, not, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just very different, I think, if you have roommates or people who are sort of in the building or whatever, like, it probably doesn't feel as lonely. But, you know, that's why I'm like, go walk outside, say hi to someone someone's going to be walking by, you know, just go away. It's really, really in person. But I'm really fascinated. I'm really surprised that you're not an extrovert. I always like pictured
I
you
think
as
a
a.
lot of people are, but the best description I've ever heard of introversion versus extroversion is it's not how people perceive you or even how you interact with the world, but it's how you recharge. And some people get
Hmm.
exhausted by alone time, and they just need to be around people to get their energy back, and that's an
Yeah.
extrovert. And some people are
Oh, that's
exhausted
me.
by
Yeah.
togetherness and social interaction. Doesn't mean they're not great at it. It just means
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it drains their battery, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's me. I also have this this compulsion where I always feel I'm always afraid that people are secretly mad at me, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that exhausts me. And so when I'm alone, I can at least turn that off, because there's not anybody that I've accidentally made mad if I'm not around to do anything. And that's just totally my personal psychosis. So
Yeah.
so that contributes. See, this
I'm,
is my
I
support group.
relate.
This is my therapy.
I relate with you. I'm always like, because I'm usually the one to say the craziest things in a meeting or whatever. I'll be like, let's do this crazy thing, and I'll be like, I know that they're mad. I know like instantly that they're mad at me, but I don't. I
Well,
don't
here's
care.
the
I'll just
thing.
be like,
Here's the thing that's so crazy is like I don't even like to reach out to a publicist to ask them if I can like do an interview with one of their cast members, even though that's their job and that's my job, because I'm afraid they'll say no and that'll mean they're mad at me. But of course, that's not what that wouldn't make anybody mad anyway, you know?
yeah,
I
yeah.
make up this
We're
thing in
we're
my
really
head
afraid
that
of
what?
we're really afraid of hearing no, and it's okay. You know, it's like I think that the fear of hearing no is really hard,
Well,
right?
you
It's
know
like
what is
that's the thing.
also, you know what is like worse than hearing no is somebody saying yes and me suspecting that they wanted to say no but couldn't. I mean, I can
Oh
only
yeah, yeah.
imagine how frustrating it must be to have to deal with how sensitive I am. So anybody out there who's put up with me, you have my deepest gratitude, because I'm a lot, and I can be a mess, but you know, if you've accepted me as your mess, then bless you.
Unconditional. It's unconditional love.
Oh, we have another famous person who just joined us, Susan Vargo, the executive producer of SpongeBob the musical,
Oh
who
my God,
just
Susan,
was watching
hi!
from the UK.
How is
She's the one who got
everything
me
in the
into,
United
inspired me to
Kingdom?
start yoga. So, hi,
Oh my God, Susan
Susan.
is amazing.
I know. Revolutionary. Love
Yeah.
her. Can't wait to see
Um,
what comes next.
oh my God, SpongeBob. I love that show. I just loved that musical so much.
I know. I was just watching the closing night speeches on YouTube again and like crying my eyes out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those it's one of the like most artistic, creative pieces of musical theater I've ever seen. It just was like, oh my God, like the things that was created from that. Oh, it's just fantastic.
I
Yeah.
really think that what we've learned from first from Lion King and then from SpongeBob is that if you're taking a property that people think they know, assign it to the most weird downtown avant-garde, like strong badass woman director, and let
Yeah.
them put their own spin on it, and they create like just brilliance, flip everything
Yeah.
on their head.
I was thinking about how during this time so much new art and creative will be done during this break, you know, like how many
Yeah.
people will be making new shows or writing books or painting or you know all the things that will come of this, and that's really exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, I've been calling it the artistic baby boom.
The artistic what?
Baby boom. You know how like, you know
Oh,
how when there's a, you
that's
know,
great.
when people are,
Oh,
I don't know like how an actual baby boom will fit in with social distancing, but I assume that at least married couples are probably sheltering in place together. So we might actually have a real baby boom in 9 months. But I also
yeah,
think that for all of the people, all of our highest level professional artists who are employed right now on Broadway or were a week ago, suddenly have the time that they need to create the thing that they always said they'd create if they had the time. So
Yeah.
if this could be a whole new burst of it's kind of like maybe you have, renaissance. That's exactly the right word. Maybe we just had to like raise it to the ground, and you never know what is going to spring from the ashes. So that's what this is.
Especially because we don't know how, there's no doubt about it in New York City that it's going to get a bit darker before it gets lighter. Mm-hmm. And that I think everyone's sort of bracing themselves for that. And that's where, you sort of will see the best art, right? The real stuff is going to come through here because it's human and it's authentic and it's real and we're experiencing it together. And it's not even just
sorry, I got distracted because of our
Ariel Jacob. Oh,
do you see what her comment is? Do you see what Ariel
A whole
Jacob
new world, baby.
Jasmine herself, a whole new world.
Yeah.
Like,
it's so true, isn't it?
I love her. I love you so much, Ariel.
Wait till you see Between the Lines.
Oh my gosh, I know.
When we come back, it is. I mean, talk about. I mean, her character is all about like in the books and in this world that wants to be so perfect, and it's interesting because I think a lot of us are going to be sort of looking for this world as. I mean, I ordered 2 books,
Good,
I don't even get a chance to read.
I've been doing audiobooks. But Between the Lines, it's a Daryl Roth production. I heard Jason Gauthier sing one of his songs from it at a benefit a couple of weeks ago. And I just, it's based on is it Jodi Picoult or Jodi Picoult? I'd never known how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Jodi Picoult.
Yeah, it's spelled like Picoult, but I think
fantastic.
that is a musical that I'm very excited about, and talk about all-star cast and like one of the greatest leading ladies ever.
I know. I mean, this is a fantastic new musical. It's so different than anything I've ever seen. It's just, and it's really going to apply to people who have felt like an outsider. They felt like this world wasn't for them or built for them. And I think that's what's so fantastic about that show is that it's
every theater kid ever.
yeah. It's, and the music is fantastic. Oh my God, these girls, they just smash it. There's some there. Yeah, that's that I'm really, really thrilled for. And Ariel, you're a queen. I'm so excited. Let's just get back and get that show up. Get all these shows up,
Ariel has a very cute dog that has its own Instagram account. Will you post? It's the Broadway pup, but I think that there's some like numbers after that. So Ariel, if you will post your dog's Instagram handle, I highly recommend everybody follow. And who doesn't need more cute pups in their life right now?
Oh my gosh, I've just been like, now I'm like getting sad again because it was like all these amazing shows that I've been working on is like all like, we have so much stuff. Like, I was working on Girl from the North Country, which just had like the best reviews, and we just launched this amazing new campaign, which you can check out. And it's just, Company is so good. And
I had tickets to see Company on Friday. Didn't get to see it. Haven't seen it.
Good.
I know.
It's so good, and we were supposed to open up the Minutes on Broadway on Sunday, and
I had tickets to see that today.
It's so good.
I was supposed to see 2 shows today. I don't even remember what the other one is off the top of my head. But I had tickets to see like 12 shows in 7 days or something.
We should do a hashtag like, what was your last show? My last actual show that I sat and saw was A Soldier's Play because I'm a Tony voter, and it was like the last time to see it before it ended, and it was like, and it was so good. But
were you there on Wednesday night, like during the what turned out to be the final performance?
Oh yeah. And it was the whole thing was so weird because I was in I was bouncing around to a lot of the theaters because I had, 3 shows that were currently up and running and then 2 shows that were in rehearsals. And it was interesting because I was going through to see all these different places and I was like, so interesting to see the makeup of the theater. Like New Yorkers wanted to go up, they still wanted to do this. The
Hmm.
ones that felt like they were affected had their masks on, and it was like it definitely was. It felt like there was this community around it. It was like people felt like that something was coming and that they almost knew that it was like, it was like, I gotta get in
Gotta
and
go
see it
while I
before.
can.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was at Jagged
So,
Little Pill on Wednesday night, and I was
yeah.
supposed to see the matinee of Moulin Rouge. They have had a Thursday matinee, so I had tickets to that. And I showed up to pick up my tickets, and that was the first show that was canceled. And they were handing out
Yeah.
flyers, and
Oh,
so I
yeah, I saw
tweeted
that on
that,
your
and like
Instagram.
the New York
Yeah.
Times retweeted me. Like news was
Yeah.
breaking as we went. I was also on a can't believe that it was a week ago, because it feels like so much time has passed. But I was supposed to go to Six opening night on Thursday night,
Oh, yeah. I
and
was
so
too.
and I even was able to pick up my tickets,
Yeah.
and then they made the announcement came down from the government, and
Yeah.
they're forced to shut down. But like it all happened so fast.
That was the craziest day. I had in the morning, I had the same thing. I was like at the reading for going to the reading for Becoming Nancy. Then Six opening, which was at 6:30, and then the first performance, the Plaza Suite. We had our final dress rehearsal, and it was
Wait,
like a
hang on a
big day.
second. You cut out for a second. You were going to go to Six opening night and then to what?
And then Plaza Suite final dress rehearsal. Like it was
Oh,
like it
wow.
was a big day. It was like, and I was just like, and then it was like all of a sudden, it was like it felt like it was like,
So
it
is
was.
Plaza Suite suspended? Is it canceled? Do we know? Are you
No,
allowed
no,
to
no.
say?
We're coming back. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
good.
and it's so good. I cannot wait for you guys to see this. I mean, we all know Matthew Broderick is an incredible actor, but Sarah Jessica Parker, who hasn't been on the stage in a while, is giving a performance that I mean, it is incredible. She is.
I don't find that a surprise. I would say I already knew she was an amazing actor.
I guess so. I guess I didn't. I've never seen her on stage. Of course, I've been a massive fan of her. We have the same birthday next Wednesday.
A week from
So
today?
yeah, yeah. I'll be
Uh,
spending my birthday alone in quarantine.
can we do
But
can you set up one of those massive parties that so everybody can
yeah, maybe I'll do that.
like,
Do like an online party. That'll be good. Yeah.
yeah,
But
no one will have
she
an
is.
excuse to not come.
Yeah. I'll be like, come on. No, she is. Her performance in that show is just, I mean, it is so nuanced and so funny. And she's just, I mean, true charm on stage. You see it and you're like, wow, no wonder you're just Sarah Jessica Parker. She's just, wow. Yeah.
Well, listen,
That's going to be.
you're already doing digital campaigns for all of these shows, but if, as you continue to like lean, as the shows continue to lean on you, or if new shows come in and want to do strategy with you, just remember that I am available for hire.
Yes.
And I have lots of good ideas. And oh my
I
gosh, maybe,
know.
how about this? I'm going to say this. I'm going to put you on the spot and say it in front of everybody. What about moderated online talkbacks?
On certain shows, I think it'll work. The issue will be how to organize it in the theaters. Like anything, yes. So the answer is yes, we should do it. It's always about the technology, because like the issue of like the theaters is that it's really hard to do Wi-Fi in the spaces without
Oh no,
connecting
I'm talking
directly.
about like what you and I are doing right now, but
Oh,
have like
yeah.
all the
Yeah,
cast
oh, I
in their
feel
own
like
living rooms and me moderating
yeah,
a conversation with them where we're all at home.
100%. We should definitely do that. And I think now that everybody is sort of open and woke to what is possible with technology, I think they'll be much more willing to carry on the conversation is, what I'm calling is like, act zero or the third act, where it's like what happened pre and post show, because now there's this, the future of the theater is very much in engaging with fans before they see a show, because the science is all there. It's why luxury, travel is so successful, because it's anticipation, right? It's engaging with the idea that someone is excited about what they're about to see. And the more that we can feed into that through these devices, the more excited people will be when they get to the theater. They're like, oh. And then you have a little window of time right after the show to like keep the conversation going before everyone's on to the next thing. So
I see that my biggest fan has just joined the comments. Robert G. Haywood. That's my dad, y'all.
Haywood.
Hi, Dad. Oh, I miss my mom and dad. Hi, guys.
Definitely, we'll definitely do that, Laura.
Okay,
that's not. We'll find places for that. And it feels like we're in this world now where that can. It feels like more open and available to do that.
I have
really
another
cool.
question for you that you may or may not be able to answer, even if you know anything. You mentioned you're a Tony voter. Do we have any sense of what's happening with the Tonys this morning? It was announced that the Olivier's are canceled. Of course, those are in April. What's going on? What's going on?
I mean, they literally are in meetings all day today to discuss it. So no answers as of yet. It's the issue is that the basic issue will be, how do you make it so that you can see all the shows, right? Because there's 800 people now that will have to see all the shows. We're literally delayed openings at this point through May. Will it be that we sort of combine seasons? Will it be that like we just, it's all up in the air. And by the way, that's not even like, first is like, how do we keep people employed? Like that's the most important thing right now. Is like,
as someone who's been employed by the Tonys for the last 2 years, I'm highly invested in whether or not they're going to be happening.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll probably at this point I can say that everything is different and everything is in the air and nothing is or will be as it was. That's probably what I assume is going to happen at this point. There's no doubt about it that the Tony Awards is the industry's largest commercial and exposure for one of the most, I'd probably say also the Thanksgiving Day Parade. So there's, it's important for us to carry on with it. It's just whether or not, they did announce today that I think our Spring Road conference is going to be canceled, which is so sad. I'm on the committee for that, and it's like one of my favorite things because everyone around the world around the country comes together for this one event, and it's just it's so sad.
Well, when it starts up again, I'm going to be bugging you to get added to that invite list because I've never been invited to the conference.
Really?
I usually have somebody hold a gift bag for me, and I like open it like it's a stocking, but I've always wanted to go.
It is. I think it's a paid thing. Everyone has to sort of come together because we have to pay for the hotels and the experiences.
Yeah, but you might need somebody to moderate something.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely. Well, definitely.
This Instagram Live is the world's biggest commercial for me. I'm like, please hire me, please.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I don't even know. I'm hoping that everyone calls me up and does things, but we don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen.
And even in all this uncertainty, you still have a big sunflower brooch on. You've got a big smile on your face. You got your pink ukulele behind you.
We're ready to go.
You want to tell everyone about your brooches before we wrap up?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, so I have a brooch collection. I have over 400 brooches in which I display. I wear a different one every day. I used to be really good about taking a picture of it every day and posting it on my Instagram account, which if you connected to see, you'll see hundreds of brooches. And I just love it.
365?
Yeah, 365 brooch, hashtag 365 brooch. I love it. I've always been interested in jewelry. My mom and my grandmother had brooches, and I just loved it. And the best thing about it is that if you can't talk about anything else, you can always talk about a brooch. You can always broach the subject. You can always.
So do you retire them after you've worn them if you wear a different one every day?
Oh, no, because there's so many that I love so much that I'm like, I want to wear it. I want to wear this one every day, or I want to wear that one every day. So like, no,
So
they
it's
don't get
not,
retired.
so you do repeat from time to time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There was a year, and this is like so nerdy, where I was like, I'm gonna do Instagram, and I'm gonna do it and all the way. And I literally every day took a picture of a different brooch every day for 1 year, and it was ridiculous, but it was so much fun. I
I
mean,
love
even when I
that.
wouldn't go out, I had like a felt brooch on my pajamas.
Aw.
It was
Oh, that's
amazing.
so cool. This is what I believe that this is how people keep joy in their lives is they get a funny, weird idea and they're like, I'm just going to do it. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to
So,
start a new Instagram account and it doesn't like if you have the brooches and it brings you joy. This is how we fuel ourselves. That's how Broadway Girl
yeah,
got started. Was I was like, I
yeah,
don't know, I go to
yeah,
a lot of shows, I might as well document it. And then
yeah.
suddenly a
It
decade
becomes a
later, I have a
thing.
career.
Yeah, I recently also have been I've always wanted to, I've loved sketching. I'm like really more of a creative than I am a marketer. So like I've been sketching and on Super Awesome Friends, which is my company's name, Super Awesome Friends. I've been posting regular art, like little pieces of art, and they've been so much fun. So
Oh,
much
I'm
fun.
gonna have to make sure I'm
So,
checking that out regularly.
oh yeah, definitely. Give us a little follow. It's
Yeah, is that
fun.
so? That's on the Super Awesome Friends Instagram.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Super Awesome Friends. Yeah, it's hilarious. I love
Best named company
it.
ever.
It's a lot. I know, right? I got back from London and I was like, I'm going to start a new company that is about joy and is fun and like doesn't and that is about being a supportive friend in our community, and that has always been something I believed in and helping each other. And uh, so yeah, Super Awesome Friends had to do it.
Yeah. Ugh, it's like such a different culture from like the boss I had who told me that uh, I need to stop being so excited to come to work every day because if I was a true professional, I'd be jaded by now. Like,
That is not true. That
of
is
course
not
it
true.
isn't true.
Never,
Now that's my
never.
origin story, but at the time it was like so heartbreaking. And thank goodness
Yeah,
there are company owners out there like you who believe that joy is actually a benefit to an
it
industry,
is
it's not a
really
distraction.
It is really important. It is really important. And now that everything is in this sort of weird, messy, crumbly state, I think joy and happiness and deep down positivity is a currency and will be a very, very powerful currency.
Well, good for you for being on the front lines of that. We're almost at an hour, which is when Instagram kicks us off. I
Yeah.
do want to mention that Coloring Broadway just entered the chat, and Coloring Broadway is
My
part of the
buddy.
Broadway Makers Alliance, which Jim, you've been a huge help to. And I have spent a lot of time the last couple of days doing some coloring. It's very soothing to the soul,
Oh,
and Coloring Broadway is a really great outlet.
I love Coloring Broadway. I love Andrea. I love the Broadway Makers Alliance. I think now more than ever, they are going to be a massive force in our industry. And if I have anything to do with it to help push that forward, I'm all about them. That is, if we're talking about what the future of Broadway is, it's in the makers. I mean, we
That's
are a
amazing. Well,
content-based
I'm in
business.
the Broadway Makers Alliance too, and so we
High
love you.
five, baby! You're
And there,
the
oh, and
future.
it looks like we've got an exclusive announcement. There's company coloring coming. So for people who love
So excited.
company,
Speaking of which, company fans, if you go over to the company page at 6 o'clock, we have Jennifer Samard and Chris Sieber who are doing the Newlywed Game on
oh
company's
my
Instagram.
gosh,
I think it's like
amazing!
yeah. So jump on over there if you want to watch. It's
Is
gonna
that
be hilarious.
on the company Instagram?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, great.
A little break from the
Maybe I'll have to
mundane.
postpone my run. Well, let's
Maybe.
also take a bathroom break before we go over to the company Instagram page to
Yeah,
watch that. Jim,
yeah.
you are amazing. Thank you for bringing
You
such a big
are.
smile to my face,
Thank
for being
you for
part of
this
the support group
platform.
today. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, got to do
yeah. Thank
something.
you. It means a lot. Yeah. You're doing the good work. In times like these you can find out who the helpers are. You can find out and you're one of the helpers. So thank you.
That's like the best compliment you could have given me. I call myself a kindness warrior, and I'm always out there trying
Yeah.
to make kindness go viral and not worrying about like whether or not it's monetizable, but just trying to put good vibes in the world and trusting that like somehow or another I'll stay afloat. So this is part of that, and thank you for seeing me.
Thank you. I see you.
Thank
You're
you. I love
amazing.
you.
Talk to
I'll
you
talk
later.
to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Love you. Thank you. Bye-bye.